Diogenes the Cynic. Why he rejected society. Diogenes of Sinope, that audacious, barrel-dwelling philosopher of ancient Greece, remains one of history's most striking examples of radical nonconformity. He wasn't just a quirky figure. He was a living, breathing critique of the artificiality, conventions, and hypocrisies of Athenian society. To understand why Diogenes, around 412–323 BCE, famously rejected society, we have to look past the anecdotal oddities: sleeping in a large ceramic jar, pithos, publicly challenging authorities, and wandering with a lamp in daylight claiming to be searching for an honest man, and dive into the core philosophy of Cynicism. The Cynic's core premise: physis over nomos. Diogenes' entire life was a practical application of the Cynic belief that a truly good and fulfilling life is achieved by living in agreement with nature, physis, and rejecting the useless, corrupting conventions and laws, nomos, created by human society. This is the fundamental, non-negotiable divide. Physis. This encompasses the basic, simple needs of a human being: food, shelter, natural bodily functions, and freedom. It is honest, transparent, and universally accessible. Nomos, custom, law. This includes things like complex social hierarchies, political ambition, wealth accumulation, extravagant property, marriage laws, and intricate social etiquette. Diogenes saw these as artificial, arbitrary chains that enslaved the mind and body, pulling people away from genuine happiness and self-sufficiency, autarkeia. He looked at the busy, ambitious Athenians and saw people chasing phantoms, honor, reputation, luxury, that ultimately made them dependent and miserable. His rejection of society wasn't misanthropy. It was a desire to liberate the self from what he viewed as a vast, elaborate hoax called civilization. The practice of radical austerity, ascesis. Diogenes' infamous lifestyle in the Pithos was not poverty for poverty's sake. It was a form of rigorous training, ascesis. By willingly stripping away all non-essential possessions and comforts, he demonstrated that happiness does not depend on external factors. The revolutionary nature of his possessions. The Pithos. His home was a symbolic rejection of property and stability. It stated that shelter should be simple and functional, not a monument to status or wealth. The single cup and bowl. Legend says he initially carried a wooden bowl and cup. When he saw a child drinking water with cupped hands and eating a lentil soup directly from the pot, he immediately threw away his own utensils, realizing they were superfluous. This was the epitome of seeking the absolute minimum required for life. Voluntary exile. He was effectively an exile by choice, refusing to be bound by the obligations of citizenship. In a world where being a citizen of a powerful polis, city-state, was everything, Diogenes declared himself a cosmopolitan, a citizen of the world, cosmopolites. This radically deprioritized local identity and loyalty. This austerity was intended to build spiritual muscles. By actively training himself to endure cold, heat, hunger, and public scorn, he became invulnerable to the threats and manipulations of society. How could someone bribe or threaten a man who desired nothing and feared nothing? Rejecting the tyranny of public opinion. A major reason Diogenes scorned Athenian society was its obsession with doxa, reputation, or public opinion. People spent their lives tailoring their actions and words to gain the approval of others, sacrificing their true selves in the process. Diogenes did the exact opposite, making a spectacle of his sincerity and his commitment to parrhesia, frank, fearless speech. His public acts were not random stunts. They were performance art designed to expose the absurdity of Athenian values. 1. Challenging authority, Alexander the Great. When the all-powerful Alexander visited him and asked if he could do anything for the philosopher, Diogenes famously replied, "Yes, stand out of my sunlight." This one line dismantled the entire edifice of power and hierarchy, suggesting that even the conqueror of the world could not bestow anything more valuable than what nature already provided, the sun. 2. The bone in the marketplace. He would often be seen eating his simple food, often just onions or stale bread, in the highly public marketplace, the agora. When people criticized him for this indecency, he is said to have replied, "I am clearing my stomach in the marketplace, which I do in my private life." This was a satirical inversion. The marketplace was the center of social pretense, and he was bringing the most honest, natural acts into its domain, to highlight its superficiality. 3. The lamp in daylight. His search for an honest man was a profound, poetic indictment. It suggested that despite all the rhetoric, learning, and supposed sophistication of Athens, the basic human quality of uncorrupted sincerity was impossible to find among the men operating under nomos. Diogenes' rejection was a heroic, albeit abrasive, attempting to recall humanity to its own intrinsic value, and away from the glittering yet fragile value systems it had constructed. He chose freedom over comfort, truth over politeness, and the simple path over the complex labyrinth of social life. In a sense, he rejected society not to be alone, but to be authentically himself, and in doing so, he showed others a path to their liberation, should they be brave enough to take it. If Diogenes were here today, he might say that true freedom comes when you stop scrolling for validation and start living by your own simple, natural truths. Don't let the algorithms or the expectations of the crowd dictate your worth. Don't just be a citizen of your feed, be a citizen of the world. Let us know in the comments below. What societal convention do you think is the most hypocritical? Smash that like button if you agree that simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, and subscribe to join our community of free thinkers.